What is popping, everybody? Bailey Strasser here. Hopefully you all watched the draft. We obviously know night 2 is obviously tonight, but the Bucks do not have a pick. I don't believe anything will happen in that matter. With what the Bucks need to do if they really want to get a pick, they'd have to trade some players. I don't see that being tonight. The big Giannis move, I think, basically was enough for now. And I think the Bucks wanted to see what they were going to get in the draft before I think they decided to make any other moves. I feel like these moves that they would make would be more during the season or the trade deadline. That's what I feel like the moves would be, because the Bucks could be a team that does sell the trade deadline. A lot of people obviously, of course, look at this team and go, yeah, this team's not winning a title. We all know that. But this team is a rebuilding team. Taylor Jenkins, we saw what he did with the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe he can do that with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I said, you know what? We got a draft. We get 2 draft picks. We only had 1, and I was like thinking, okay, I hope if they really trade Giannis, they got to do it, and they did, And with that 1 pick, I was like, if John Horst goes with another future pick again, I swear I will lose it. Because John Horst, for whatever reason, he's allergic to drafting players out of college. And for whatever reason, he only likes to draft players who have a future because he's just hoping the next Giannis will come along, And I understand that tactic can sometimes work. They tried that with Marjon Beauchamp. It failed miserably. They tried that with A.J. Johnson with his first round pick, I think 2 years ago or whatever, and he didn't even play he played and then they traded him away. I mean, the Bucks have just been nothing but disappointing when it comes to really trying to develop players. They have not had one good draft pick in the last decade. I'd say the only draft pick in the Horst era, when Horst became the general manager, I'd say it was Dante DiVincenzo. And he was a good player, and then eventually they traded him away because I think they realized they had too much guard depth, and him on the team and they managed to do fine without him, when they realized that, and that was why they traded him away, which made sense, which I really think they shouldn't have done, but at the time I knew it made sense, because Connaughton was just kind of becoming that guy, and DiVincenzo was like, why do we even still have him? He's just a wasted roster spot. So here's the thing, I was hoping that the Bucks go into this and go, you know what? Giannis is gone. Who's going to be the face of the franchise? I don't know who the face of the franchise is. Truthfully, I do not know. But let's talk about these draft picks. With the 10th overall pick, the pick that the Bucks originally were received in the lottery, and I was worried. I was like, you know what? If they go with this future pick, which I was going to say Nate AMENT, which every single person mock drafts, even before we traded Giannis, said that's who we were getting. According to everybody, that is who the Bucks actually were planning on taking. It was true. It was true. And of course, we did pick him at 13, but I'm going to go with the first pick. BRAYDEN BURRIES. I will say this, I think hopefully he pans out, but this is so far the best pick that the Bucks have made. They actually picked a player that can come into a game immediately and play at a high level. I don't know what took them so long to do that after all these years, but they did it. Every time at the draft, I always get upset. And this time, today, I was not upset. BRAYDEN BURRIES was he was the true leader of that Arizona team that literally was barely lost a game. That Arizona team was one of the best teams in the league in college last year. I mean, they were outstanding. He led their team. I think he averaged 16 points a game. He kind of reminds me, his shooting style kind of reminds me of Jalen Brunson. He's not afraid to pull up, hit a jumper or 3. He's not afraid to do much. I feel like he's going to be more of a shooting guard type role. I wouldn't say he's the most phenomenal passer, but I feel like he's more of that athletic guard that you can kind of put in there, and he's not afraid to really kind of do the things. With our point guard being Ryan Rollins and most likely our shooting guard, unless being traded, Tyler Hero. I know a lot of people still think he may. I don't think he's going to be traded now, but knowing that Tyler Hero and Ryan Rollins are most likely going to be our backcourt, Brayden Burries and Ryan Rollins is really what our future backcourt is probably going to be. Brayden Burries, I believe, will probably come off the bench. I very well could see him being a six-man of the year candidate if he really could come in there, and I think he could very well be a great player. I see that in him. He'll probably be the first guy coming off the bench or something like that. And I wanted them to take Brayden Burries. I said if they have the 10th pick and Brayden Burries is available, that's who you take. I thought he was the best guy available. I was shocked. I thought Dallas was taking him. Instead, Dusty May wanted one of his former players and Morris Johnson Jr., which makes a lot of sense. Of course, he wants to be reunited with him because Morris Johnson Jr., I believe, was his favorite player on that team. And now it gave us Brayden Burries, and we were like, oh, wow, we actually got a guy who can come in and actually, I don't know if he'll start at shooting guard. I don't know if he'll come in off the bench. My assumption is our starting lineup's going to be like Rollins and Hero, Kuzma, Turner, and maybe Yaquez. I don't know. That would probably be the starting five for the Bucks right now. I don't really know who I else would say. Because we normally don't start rookies unless they're like clearly like a top 5 pick or something. But I think Burries will be that guy in the future. He can be that guy. I have real faith in him. Then obviously with the Miami pick, the Bucks went with the guy that I originally thought they were going to pick at number 10 before the Giannis trade, Nate Ament out of Tennessee. He's only 19 years old. This guy is a project pick. And if the Bucks just went with him and they didn't trade Giannis, I'd be very upset because I'd be saying this guy's just going to be sitting behind the wings for people for maybe like 2 years. Maybe he can come in and actually like be a player. I don't know. If Kuzma gets traded or something, which could happen, then definitely I see Nate Ament actually getting playing time. I don't know if he's a starter. I don't know if he'll come off the bench. He's 6'10" and he's a forward. I wouldn't, but he kind of looks like somebody that was, I remember this guy. He was very young. He was very skinny, just like he was when he was very young. And then as the years went on, he turned out to be the best player in Milwaukee Bucks franchise history. That could be the case with Nate Ament. And when I watched his highlights at Tennessee, I was like, okay, he doesn't fully, there's some stuff out there that I'm like, oh wow, he can actually do some things. Like I can see that. But is this a guy that's going to be coming in and probably really being a key contributor for this Bucks team this season? Probably not. I feel like he's going to be a two-way guy. I feel like that's just because if they don't trade anybody right now or until the deadline, we wouldn't really see him until the second half of the season. If he does impress and goes and people look at him and go, oh wow, I'm wrong about him, then I could actually see him getting some playing time. But Burries was a great pick. Ament was a good pick, not a great, I'd say an okay pick, but he was the best available. I mean, he was the guy because, I was hoping we could have landed one of those Michigan guys like Yaxel Lendenborg or Ade Mara, but, obviously those two were the next people taken, and then Ament was the best guy available, and I'm like, of course, why would you not take the best guy available? So, with that being said, I'll say the Bucks did a good job in the draft. I'm happy about the Burries pick. The Ament pick, I think, is a future pick, but you never know. I can't sit there and say, oh, this guy's going to be a bust without not even knowing a single thing about him. With that being said, our roster probably is complete. I don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like the Kasparis Jaconis, getting him, he is a first round. He was Miami's first round pick last year. It's like, and he barely got really much playing time, but in the playing time that he got when Miami pretty much their season was under wraps, and he was getting that playing time in the last 36 games, he's averaged 12 points a game. He's a point guard. out of is he Serbian? I can't remember, but there's a lot to say. I think the Bucks. I mean, you look at this roster. Other than like Miles Turner and Kyle Kuzma, every single person is 26 years or younger. You know, Heroes and Yak. Heroes 26, Yakas is 25. Everybody else is literally like a teenager. Like they're still like they'd be in college still. I They are a very very young team. But that's how the Packers were. When they got rid of Aaron Rodgers, they went to the younger side. And look how they turned out. They still developed and they gonna be continue to be young because the young teams are the ones that do well. And that's what the Thunder did. That's what the Spurs did. That's what the Bucks need to do now. It's looking like that. I'm excited for most likely what to be happening, but I think that we're still waiting patiently to see what will happen in the future because most likely it might not be it for the moves. I know a lot of teams are interested in Miles Turner now. I'm sure I'm sure that Tyler Hero only being there for 1 year, is this a rental? We move him in the middle of the season to a team that really could use him? Could we move Kuzma because obviously he is also a free agent at the end of next season? And if the Bucks really want to continue younger, that's what they have to do. The only person that really needs to stay and continue being a Buck is Ryan Rollins. He, I think, was our best player last season, and I think is going to be our best player this season. I think Ryan Rollins is the guy that actually is going to run the offense. I don't know what it comes to. Now, I know a lot of guys have opt-in, opt-outs. So far, Gary Harris was the only one that opted in. I'm not surprised. The guy stinks, and I'm sure no one would even sign him. So that would make a lot of sense. Gary Trent has an opt-in. Kevin Porter Jr. has an opt-in. Jericho Sims has an opt-in. Torian Prince has an opt-in. Trent might be the only one that stays, but everybody else I'm expecting to be departing. I don't expect them to be with the Bucks this season. I think they're going to sign elsewhere. I mean, that's just my opinion. But we're going to see a lot. I think a lot's going to change. A lot's going to happen. And the Bucks may not be a good team this year, but next year, when Giannis's contract expires, when Damian Lillard's contract expires, when Doc Rivers and Adrian Griffin's contract expires, I know Miles Turner's the only one that's taking up space, but that next season is when they'll be able to actually sign people. And the rebuild starts. This is a new era for us Bucks fans, and while it's not one that a lot of people want, sometimes you just got to move on. That's all we can say. I feel like BURRIES and AMENT hopefully will be the start of that rebuild, and I mean they got players such as Ryan Rollins and AJ Green that really stepped up at the end, that really stepped up in the wake of people not doing such. Ousmane Dieng is another guy. I think he's an opt-in, opt-out guy, but I hope he opts in because I really liked him last year. I think I'd actually sign him to an extension if I'm being honest. But I have faith that we can at least be a team that I can walk in there and go, oh wow, they can be competitive like they can. I know we're not up there with New York, Boston, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Charlotte is a contender now. I think Charlotte's going to be like one of the top teams in the league next year. But we're just going to see what happens. And of course, there's going to be a lot more moves that take place in the NBA offseason. Jaylen Brown could be moved. Kawhi Leonard could be moved. Anthony Davis could be moved. There could be a lot of players getting moved. We don't know. In the meantime, if you like what you see, subscribe below and comment your thoughts, and we will see you next time.